And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, for another episode of the Here We Go Brownies podcast. I'm your host, Allie Heisong. Joined with me from Kansas City is Dustin. Dustin, obviously not the outcome us Browns fans wanted, but a well-fought game from your Cleveland Browns. How are you feeling? I'm sure you're exhausted. You were there at the game today. Walk us through it.
Well, Ali, it was a little surreal. Like I said, I was with some of the actual players' wives, and I said, boy, it's kind of interesting to watch it through a player's wife's perspective, watching her actual family out there on the field. And we'll get into that in a little bit with our guests coming up. But yeah, Ali, it was kind of surreal, to be honest. My first Browns playoff game of all time to set in that stadium. First and foremost, our well wishes go out to Patrick Mahomes. He's a true great player, classy guy. I know Baker talked to him after, kind of talked to him about that in the interview. They go way back to Texas. But Allie, I got to be honest, I'm proud of the Browns today. They fought all the way to the very end. And Miles made a good point. We just didn't make an extra couple plays. They literally came down, we didn't stop them on fourth down in a couple areas. And that was the difference in the football game. It just came down to a couple plays. I think if I would have came to this game and the Browns got blown out, I'd be like, well, they got some work to do, some stuff to work on next year. But honestly, Allie, I think they left it all out on the field and they played really tough against the world champions today.
They did.
They shouldn't hang their head on that for sure.
No, and it's just, totally an emotional roller coaster from us Browns fans, but I'm not disappointed in the team at all. It's been a well-fought battle to get to where we are. Browns fans, there's a lot to be optimistic about, and I'm not about moral victories. That's not who I am. It's not my blood. I want to see it. I want to see the victory actually out there, but you're going up against the world champions, and, credit to them. Got to give credit where it's due. They made a couple extra plays. We didn't. There were some controversial calls, but hey, you know what? I hate to say it. It is what it is. Lot to look forward to this offseason. And of course, we've got plenty of content coming your way. But Dustin, before we get into it, we want to give our thanks and gratitude to our good friends at onlyincleve.com. Go check them out for all your apparel needs. Anything you need, go check them out, onlyincleve.com.
Sporting one of their hats tonight right there from Only Incleve.
Yes, they're the best. And here in a couple minutes, guys, we are going to be welcoming Pro Football Hall of Fame finalist, Cleveland Browns legend, four-time Pro Bowler Clay Matthews to the program for an exclusive interview. So please stand by. We're going to have him on at 8 p.m. Eastern. We're really looking forward to that. Get his breakdown of the game and talk Ring of Honor and Hall of Fame hopes for him.
Yeah, Allie, I was going to add the other thing about this team. They were hungry this year. They felt it. And I know after this, they're going to want it even more next year. This team is young. There's a nucleus. I don't look at this team as one that was built for one and done, right? I kind of look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that way. They bring in a Tom Brady and they surround him with everything to try to get to a Super Bowl. This team is young. They're hungry. Miles is like, we'll be back. I know we'll be back. Like, you can see that confidence. They can feel it. And you know what? Sometimes just getting the taste of it and then having to come back makes you want it even more, right? Like you got close. And now you want to make sure you take it over the finish line next time. But no, hats off to the Browns today. They played a hell of a football game. And just, it sucks to get knocked out of the playoffs, right? But hey.
It hurts. It does not feel good.
I mean, Allie, if you look back at our season at this point, not only did we make the playoffs, we won a playoff game and advanced to the second round. So there's a lot to be said for that. This team has done leaps and bounds above and performed even beyond what most people thought they could do this year. And I had friends come up to me and I had Chiefs fans shaking my hand and go, you guys were tough out today and you could have easily won this football game. You could feel the nervousness in the stadium, Allie. Like you could feel the fans going, oh my gosh, this is about to slip away from us, like literally. And you could feel the momentum going back for Cleveland, but you could just tell that this team, gave it all. But I don't know, like it felt different, right, to be at a game. Like, like you said, there's no moral victories, but I can tell you, for them to be down 19-3, I think it was at halftime, and to come back and fight to be within 5 points in this game says a lot about the resilience of this football team.
I'm going to use the word heart. A lot of heart and character for this football team. Now, taking a look at the 2019 season, Dustin, taking a look back, I remember going up against the Tennessee Titans and them coming out and saying that team had no heart. I will tell you something about this team. They are resilient. They're young and hungry, but they have a lot of character and a lot of heart. They're going to give it. They're going to give you their all week in and week out.
Yeah.
and it's a fun, energetic group to watch. And you just, like I said, no moral victories, but taking a look at what Kevin Stefanski, Andrew Barry were able to do this offseason in terms of adding to the offense. Rookie head coach, by the way. We have an entire offseason to add to a very depleted defense. I have all the faith in the world that Andrew Barry, this front office, Kevin Stefanski will be able to add personnel to fit the scheme and have them coming in from a position of strength next year.
Yeah, I think we'll be full bear next year. I mean, full bear. Like there'll be a lot of new talent. And let's be honest, there's some people that, I was thinking about this. We got into this way early on. You know what? I just like came to my mind, Allie. Even the Browns players that like the Curtis Weavers of the world and those that we've kind of put in the cupboard. Mm-hmm. And then all the guys that opted out because of COVID are back, right? That opted out because of COVID. We didn't
Andrew Billings.
Yes. All those guys that you don't even think about because they're just not on the field, but they're back next season and the depth will be there at offense and defense. So
you're exactly right. And there's just a lot of hope going into this offseason. There's a lot of hope. You're really feeling good about who you are, Browns fans, and it starts and ends with, here it is, Dustin, alignment within the organization. You have a culture. Kevin Stefanski came in, he changed the culture. This is a winning culture, a winning football team. You add to your scheme. You got to feel good about where you're coming at from next year. So,
Allie,
Dustin.
I was just going to say, think about this. We didn't think about this. You come back healthy next year and you add OBJ and all the other pieces. Think about Browns fans. We haven't had OBJ out there. What would have OBJ done in a key moment in this game? Broke it downfield. And, we just don't know, right? We just don't know. But a full healthy team back next year, that could be something that could really bode well for the Browns next year. And I don't think Jimmy Haslam is going to be one of those on the cheap. I think he's going to be like, no, we've got a winner here and I'm going to keep it a winner for the next 3 to 5 years. You can just tell that they're going to spend the money and we're cap friendly. We're in good shape.
Oh yeah. You're sitting pretty. Sitting pretty. You've got
a
lot of
teams out there that are not like Pittsburgh Steelers, not cap friendly right now. Some of our other AFC North rivals, they're not cap friendly. They're going to have to make some tough choices in the offseason, but the Browns have been smart about the way they spend their money. And this is a young nucleus that we can have around for several years to come.
It starts and ends with building a winning culture. We have that, Browns fans. Tough. It's tough. Dustin, real quick, before we have Clay Matthews on here in the next couple moments, walk us through your experience in Kansas City. What was it like to be there today?
Well, it was kind of cool. I got to say, I've been hanging out with Porter's family. It's very cool. I tell you what, talk about a guy that put it out on the line today.
Yes, he did.
Porter played the hell out today. He even got a chop block called, he got, a guy tried to chop block him, which was huge in the game, a 15-yard penalty, which helped the Browns, in that situation. But I'm just going to say this. The Chiefs fans are some of the most hospitable fans I've ever been around. And I've been to Denver. I've been to a lot of cities watching games. But for them to shake our hands, because you know what? Before last year, they hadn't won a Super Bowl since the 60s. So they know what it's like. And you could just tell that they're like Bills and Browns fans. They have that kind of, we know that it sucks and it takes a lot to get there, and we can respect fans like you. But I got to tell you, the Midwestern hospitality, I'm just going to say it right now. The Chiefs fans have been nothing but pleasant, and I haven't had one person make a mean comment today. And I tell you, I've been to some places where they're just not nice, and they were completely hospitable here in Kansas City.
Yeah. So guys, with that, we are going to go ahead and welcome Clay Matthews to our Zoom, to our podcast room. I'm going to go ahead and admit him, so we'll give him a moment to join. But absolutely an honor to have member of Cleveland Browns Ring of Honor, 4-time Pro Bowler, Browns legend, NFL linebacker Clay Matthews to the podcast. Clay, how are you?
Little disappointed.
I'm with you. I hear you.
And I say, Clay, if you want, you can do video, because we're going live video if you want to make that video as well.
Okay, let me see if I can make that video.
There he
is.
Is.
Okay.
Hey, Clay, first and foremost, Thank you for taking the time. I know this was an emotional roller coaster of a football game. We're absolutely drained. We're heartbroken. But I've got to tell you, when I found out we were going to be able to have you on tonight, the first thing I did was I called my dad, I called my granddaddy, and I let him know. I said, hey, we're getting Clay Matthews on tonight. And they gave me a laundry list of questions to ask you. But I'll get you started on this one. What was it like to watch this team with a ton of heart, resiliency as a Browns alum?
Well, I mentioned I was a little down that they didn't win. Of course, we all are, but I'm so optimistic now with this team. When you look at, once they got around the fourth or fifth game, they just took off and they became, what we say as a player, it's a compliment. A player who's an ultimate grinder is just somebody you can count on. They're going to show up. They're going to play hard when they're ahead. They're going to play hard when they're behind. When things go really bad, they just hang in there. And that team now has become a grinding type of team. Okay, so they didn't get it done today, but we're looking at, I don't know how many years, the NFL moves so quickly. I don't know if it's 3 years or 4 years or 5 years, but we're looking at a bright future where they're going to grind and be competing. And so I'm excited about that.
So, as you know, last year, Clay, you were able to be there with your family, after playing 25 years and being in 2019, and to be put into the Ring of Honor in Cleveland, to be among the royalty of the Otto Grahams, the Jim Browns. What was that moment like for you as you walked into that stadium with your entire family there, to look around and know that your name was being put up on that wall for every Browns fans like myself, Allie, for the rest of our lives to walk in there, and your family to walk in there, and your grandkids and everybody for the rest of your life now when they walk in there? And I saw it today, right? Because I'm in Kansas City and went to the game today. Just came back from, I'm in Kansas City. and let me tell you, I'm a little emotional still, but to see, I saw Marty Schottenheimer on the wall today, at Arrowhead. But to know when you walk in there now every time, what does that mean to you and your family to know that you're part of that family that'll, the Browns family forever now on the wall?
It's a little overwhelming. I got to admit it. I've said this statement several times, and I honestly mean it. I was a fan of the NFL before I became a participant in it as a player. I was one of those kids that grew up. My dad had played with the 49ers in the early 50s. And, I was the type of kid who collected the little plastic helmets and all that. So I loved it. So, when in fact, one of the things I got when I first came to Cleveland in 1978, and they gave us a pass to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. One of the first things I did, I made Leslie, my wife, go with me, was we took my pass so I didn't have to pay. And we went down to Canton, and I was looking at all these players, and so I was a fan of the league, and I was a fan of the Browns, and so when all of a sudden they go, hey, we're going to put your name up there, it was a little overwhelming and
almost surreal. Yeah.
Yes, it really was. And to go out there and it was a real special night. And I didn't need that, but that's a wonderful thing. I've got folks I've been nominated for the Hall of Fame, and I'm trying to tell them, hey, I got a Hall of Fame of memories of 19 years in the NFL and 16 with the Browns. And, I'm doing great. I'm excited about this. It's a wonderful thing.
And not only to be there with your family and have such a, you had your son, Clay Matthews, was also there for the Rams. I mean, it was just, I had chills just watching it. What was that experience like for you in the moment to have everybody around you, your kids, Clay was there. What was that like just to be in FirstEnergy Stadium? What was that like for you?
It was a great night, even if I had just been there as a fan in the first row or the last row. Go into a game and I'm going to give you, for instance, to let you know how special the Browns fans are. When they played Baltimore in that game this year, even though they lost, I think they had like 2,500 fans. And I've been watching the league this year, and every time the first thing you notice is there are no fans. Gosh, what a terrible game. And with 2,500 or 5,000 fans, it was the first time I could feel the energy in a stadium. And the Browns did it with, and gosh, I don't remember if it was 2,500 or 5,000. And, it really hit me at that point how special the folks are there. Not that we don't know that, but sometimes you need to be reminded. And that was just a tremendous experience to see that.
Well, I was just going to say real quick, you would be, the fans today showed up in Kansas City. There was a lot of Browns fans here, and it was very interesting to see that. To your point, they traveled because they know how special this is and how long it's been for the Cleveland Browns. So with that journey, Clay, as we look at this, playing 25 years ago, and now, last year, and the year before, becoming that semifinalist, and now being the finalist. What has that journey been like for you, as you kind of inch closer possibly to being a finalist now and being inducted? What has that been like, that journey that you've been on so far? And I know it's a little gut wrenching, right? As you get to be a semifinalist and now a finalist, and now you're kind of at the door knocking in, let me in, kind of thing. What's that journey been like for you?
Well, my daughter had come to me and she said, Dad, look, and we're a football family, so she might know a little bit about it, but
Yep.
she comes to me and she says, Dad, I've seen what you've done. I'd like to work to get you in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I think you have the credentials for it. And, my dad had I was very lucky. I had great parents, and one of the things my dad told me was you don't need to go around bragging or talking about yourself. If you're any good, they'll already have figured it out. And so when she said she wanted to, kind of get me out there, and I said, I don't know, and I said, all right, go ahead. Nothing will happen. Well, she starts doing it, and all of a sudden there starts to be she's getting some traction. So I say to her, Jennifer, I said, you know what? I think you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't be out there talking about me and everything, mainly because she was starting to get some traction. And then she says, all right, let me think about it. The next day she comes and goes, Dad, I'm going to have to willingly disobey you. So she's been putting it out there, and the Browns fans, who are just, incredible, are backing me. And, so I'm at least being talked about. And like I said, I love the league. I love the old players, and for me to get mentioned in the same category with some of these folks where I grew up, like I said, I went down to the Hall of Fame and looked at all the busts and everything. It's just a wonderful thing. It's great.
Clay, I've got to tell you, I live in South Carolina now, but I was born and raised in Canton, Ohio. I would pass the Hall of Fame on I-77 every single day. And, as a kid, I would go there with my dad. And that's where I developed my love for the game early on. And we kind of built that relationship, and having that, knowing that value for all of the Browns players and all of the NFL players that went before. It was such an experience that really kind of just grew my fandom for the game. But, you kind of take it for granted. Driving past it every day, I didn't understand the significance of being so close to something so special until I moved away to South Carolina. So my question to you is, I know you're not from, Canton, Ohio, but what would it mean for you to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
Oh, that would just be incredibly special. I was hoping to have an incredibly special, and I think to a degree we got that with the Browns, the way they've really showed up in the two games when I don't think they were expected to win either of them, and very well could have won both and won the first one. It would just be, it would be a little overwhelming, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I was a lot better off running around tackling people and trying to do that than I was, getting in front of people. Probably the worst thing, when I was put in that ring of honor was I had to get in front of 70-some thousand people and give a little speech. I think I was a lot safer when I wore the helmet and I was out there hitting folks.
Well, as I say, Clay, you're an awful humble person, but as I say, there's a lot of coaches around the league, like Bill Cowher, the ones that coached, against you and was around with you as a player. And, they have the utmost honor for you. So as I say, you come from a humble place, but they, a lot of them say you would be nothing but you should be there already. So I appreciate your humbleness, but I think, like you said, you do your talking on the field. And if you do talking on the field, you should be in. So I think that's probably a good way to say it. So and like I say, don't get me wrong. When I showed up to play, I wanted to win every time. If I was going against somebody, I wanted to win that personal battle, and I wanted our team to win every time. And I'd get frustrated, when we didn't win, and I would get very frustrated if I didn't win. So I like to compete. But everything's good. Yeah. Well, Clay, I was going to say, just from a side note, you talked about this team as a grinder type of football team, the Browns. And I think you admire that because if you think about it, I watching as a small child, growing up watching you're a grinder. I mean, you literally were a grinder type of player. And I think you appreciate that and you see that in other players. And I think you notice that, like, you show up, if you're down 10 points or 15 points or you're up 10, you put your same 110% into the football game. And I think you can really appreciate seeing that grinder. And that's what I saw from you as a player personally, is that you grinded and you gave it your all. So when you did walk off the field, you didn't leave anything left behind.
Well, I appreciate that. That's what it requires to win. You've seen many teams where there can always be that magical night where you come out and everything's going well, a lot like it did in the first quarter against the Steelers. And, you can ride that and win some games, but really over the course of 16 games and however many playoff games, if you want to be a champion, and I think that's how you got to think, you got to be in it for the long haul. And there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. There are going to be times when it doesn't really look like you as a team have a chance to win, and you hang in there. You may not have your best game that night or that afternoon, but I'm so pleased with how they've matured and all the players, and all of that, the decoration and the talking is gone, and the players, they show up and they play hard. And I know for, whatever the future is, and again, there are narrow windows in the NFL. I don't know, 3 to 5 years. I think, we're in a good position to enjoy these Browns.
Absolutely right. Dustin and I, before you jumped on, we were talking about the heart of this Cleveland Browns team. There's a lot of optimism. Now, I'm not looking for any moral victories. I'm not. But what you're getting week in and week out with this football team is a lot of character, a lot of heart, and they're putting their all out there. So I want to talk quickly about that. That's what you encompass. You're kind of that, when we talk about the Cleveland Browns in 2020 and the 2021 season, kind of going into it, they're that hardworking, blue collar type of football team. And that's kind of when I go back and I watch your highlights. Now, I wasn't old enough to go back and, watch you play live, but, my dad, my granddaddy, they would all kind of talk to me about what it was like to watch you. They talked about all the great plays, all the great games, sealing the game against the Bills with that interception on Jim Kelly. What stands out to you in your career? What's one of your most, favorite plays or memories as a Cleveland Brown?
And this is the truth. It doesn't sound like it, but really when you get, when you think about your memories, the special ones, there are plays on the field, but they happen so fast. You don't really get to enjoy it. But I'm gonna tell you, as I went around Cleveland and I would interact with people, and this could have been at a gas station or a 7-Eleven or a place like that. I would run into fans who were knowledgeable and respectful. And I have all these memories of meeting these folks and having a little 1 to 5 minute conversation. And, those were special. And also with my teammates, the people in the NFL come from so many different backgrounds. And what was really special was we put our differences aside, depending on where we came or so forth. And we would all work together towards a common goal of, doing the best we could, winning a championship. And I remember all those plays. I remember the tackles and the sacks and all that. And I hope folks remember them too. But, for me, the ones that have stood the test of time have been the memories with fans and out of the way places. And then memories that I had with my teammates.
So along those lines, Clay, I'm sure you made some phone calls halftime during the game with the Bernie Kosars of the world, the ones that you were in that class with. What's it been like sharing this moment with all those players watching the new Browns, these guys, and what's it been like sharing that and kind of reminiscing, right? A little bit of what, we know what that's like to be in the playoffs in that first round and then the second round. What's that been like to sit there and call those guys up and have that conversation with them?
Yeah, we actually had a group text. I think there were about 8 to 10 people on there. And the thing is, I thought there was going to be a lot more talking than there was, but I think everyone was really into the game. And, we were in it till the very end, and then all of a sudden it ended and everybody was gone. And, it ended. But I think it's been about 25 years since I played my last NFL game, 96. And I was 40 my last year. So really, once I got out, I wasn't looking back, wishing I could still play.
Right.
But when the Browns started against the Steelers a week ago, it's the first time I thought, gosh, I wouldn't mind being out there again. I don't know my current shape, but if you could get me back when I was 20 something, I'd like to be back out there.
Yeah.
Hey, I would have loved to see it. I would have absolutely loved to see it. But Clay, we'll get you out of here on this one. I know you're a busy man. We greatly appreciate your time coming on the Here We Go Brownies podcast. But, I know you've seen it all. You've seen it all as a Cleveland Brown, the good, the bad, the ugly. Now, we talk about how today didn't go in the favor of the Cleveland Browns, but they showed a lot of resiliency, a lot of heart. What is your message to the Cleveland Browns team, to the Cleveland Browns fan base? Of course, we've got such an optimistic and hopeful future. What is your message to the team going forward?
The thing I say is that we've got a solid team. And I hate to talk about the Steelers, but the Steelers have been a solid team. They every year they're in it. And as the Browns, we've had our highs and lows, and now I see the Browns being a team like that. And they're the New England Patriots, a team where they show up, and they're going to play hard, and they're not going to win them all, and they're going to be some tough times, but at the end of the day, they'll compete, and we'll have an opportunity. And that's really all you can ask for. Give me an opportunity to pull for you, and let's see how close, and let's go get one of those Super Bowls.
Yeah, wouldn't that be amazing?
Let's go get one of those Super Bowls. I love it.
Well, Clay, I was just going to say, we wish you the best of luck. I know we're a couple weeks away from the announcement. I know the fans can go out there and kind of give their opinion as well. And I think I saw you're in first place right now among the fan base. I don't know if
you like to win in everything.
And so, they're the greatest fans in the world. I mean, you played in front of them for like you said, most of your career. Where you were there for 0-16 or for 11-5, we're still in the stands. So we wish you the best of luck. and wish you all your family and health. And, Jennifer's been a great advocate for you. And, she was able to line this up and have you. So we just wish you the best of luck. And on that, Allie, I'll let you finish.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you know what? I hope the next time that I make it back to my hometown of Canton, Ohio, I can go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame with my dad, my granddaddy, and go see you while you're in there. So we appreciate your time, Clay. Stay safe, stay healthy, and go Browns.
Thanks a lot. Go Browns.
Go Browns. Take care. Have a good one. Thanks for joining. That is Clay Matthews, everybody. He is the best around. We are wishing him the absolute best.
What a great interview.
What the best. I mean, he's the best. We wish him, sending our best wishes, everything to him. Hopefully we can get him into the Hall of Fame. That would just be absolutely huge, Browns fans. He is so deserving to get in.
And so humble, Allie.
So humble. Such a great guy.
Didn't even want his daughter to go on the tour of getting him in. Like, that was great. Like, I'm gonna disobey you, Dad.
I know, she's the best, and she's been great to work with. Hopefully we can get Jennifer on in the future. She's been a huge advocate for Clay Matthews, almost his PR person, if you will, making sure that he gets where he needs to be on his journey towards the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So Dustin, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. I know you've got a busy schedule, but give us your final thoughts. Again, guys, we're trying to keep it optimistic here, and I appreciate all the optimism here in the comments. Not the outcome we wanted. Of course, it's not. The Browns didn't get the win today, but there's so much to be grateful for. You have guys like Clay Matthews, Bernie Kosar, those guys, the alum that our current roster, is looking up to. They've paved the way for this Cleveland Browns team to be where they are now. We've seen it all: 1-15, 0-16, 11-5, what have you. But guys, we've got such a bright future ahead. Yeah,
Allie, Clay said it best. The windows in the NFL are short, but we have a young team. I see a 3 to 5 year window with this team. That's just how it is in the NFL. And then it's kind of a reset or reboot, and you try to kind of go after it again. But Allie, I mean, if you would have told me that this season that our rookie head coach would, I predicted 11-5, but that we would be 11-5 and the last out in the AFC North in the playoffs on a Sunday afternoon. And the fact that a rookie head coach through a pandemic with multiple players being out and OBJ gone for half the season, Nick Chubb out for a month. If you would have thrown all that at me and said, oh, and by the way, they're going to still make to the second round of the playoffs, I would have laughed at you. I would have
have been within one possession.
Yeah, I would have laughed at you and said, and within one possession of going to the AFC Championship game, I would have laughed. I said, no. That's just too many brick walls that you just threw in front of me to run through. But, Allie, you put it spot on. This team is mature. You could see it in their interviews. They have heart. And I think they just tasted this. And I think they're going to want to have the whole bite in the next couple of years. And I think they're going to really go after this in the next couple of years. And to Andrew Berry, Jimmy Haslam, I think they're going to be all in this team because they know how close this team is now. And you saw it on the field today with a lot of players that weren't even out there that could have been there. So,
yeah. And you're exactly right, Dustin. And guys, please, I hate to say this because I'm so sad that our season is coming to an end or has come to an end. But we will be coming at you with a lot of off-season availability, our breakdown to the draft. It's that time of year, Dustin. You know how all in we are on that. Off season.
And Wednesday, we're going to
don't forget to join us on Wednesday for our big podcast where we break it all down. We'll get more in depth to this football game, but we will do all of our free agent predictions, draft predictions, so on and so forth. So please stay tuned for just because the season's over, you're still going to have a weekly Here We Go Brownies.
We made it a long ways, guys.
We got a long ways to go, and we're going to get through it together. So, get some rest, guys. I know it's been a long day. Dustin, I know you've had a long day, but I know you've got some dinner plans with some luminaries there in the Browns organization. So go hang out with them. We'll go ahead and wrap up, guys. Stay safe, stay healthy.
And stay positive, Browns fans. Stay
positive. And let's get Clay Matthews into the Hall of Fame.
Let's get him in.
All right, go Browns.
Go Browns.